Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a quick unboxing of the Chanel 2020 Le Beiges collection and two lipsticks that I picked up. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm really thirsty, so this is water. I've only had 1 cup of coffee, but today feels like a day where I need 2 cups of coffee. But I don't want to make more coffee in the French press. Tough decisions. All right, so my box came kind of like damaged. As you can see, it's indented in the corners. That's because shipping has been like really crazy with this whole COVID thing. So, but luckily the items are not damaged. That was the first thing I checked when I got it in the mail, when I saw that the box was all dented. So on the inside, there's a little Chanel card, and you open it. I just wrote Happy Spring because, I don't know, it was included and I didn't want it to be blank. You might as well use it. So then on the inside, let me just show you how this came packaged. You have the items. So the only thing I picked up from the Le Beiges collection, actually I just saw the spelling, so it's Le Beiges, is the Warm palette. And this is the box. And then let me go ahead and give you an up close look. It comes with, of course, a little velvet packaging. And then you have the beautiful Le Beiges packaging. Then on the, oh, I already dropped one of the little things. Okay, on the inside you have like this plastic thing that protects the eyeshadow. And so we're gonna go ahead and remove that. And you get these 2 little eyeshadow brushes. So you have just the regular standard sponge application. And then you have this pretty little like brush that you can use to like smudge shadow. Because it is, I'm gonna do a little close up of this. It is a flat brush. I wonder if I could use it on my crease. The bristles are too tight together, so I don't think I can use this, but I can use this to smudge the shadow. Then here's an up close look with natural lighting of the eyeshadow palette. This whole color story speaks to me, and so you all know I was gonna pick it up. I tried to wait for Bloomingdale's to receive the collection, but due to this whole COVID thing, it looks like the collection was canceled and they don't know if they're even gonna receive it. So that's a bummer. The next item I picked up was the Rouge Coco Flash color in number 116 Easy. This is a new shade that came out. However, this was not a shade, this was not part of the Le Beiges collection because I didn't see it in like the picture launch. And so, but I did pick it up because it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, just another nude to add to my collection. Let me swatch this on the back of my hand so you all can see how pretty this is. It reminds me of Boy, but it has a bit more pink to it than Boy does. And I picked up the Le Rouge Duo Ultra Tenue Ultra Wear Liquid Lip Color in number 40 Light Rose. This was the last color I was missing to complete my collection of these liquid lipsticks. And let me just swatch this on the back of my hand so that you guys can see. This is a liquid lipstick version of the Rouge Coco Flash color that I just picked up. They are so similar. So I went ahead and I picked up this color. And then of course you always get 2 samples, and I think Chanel has really good samples. They're like a good size and they last pretty long. So I got the La Creme hand cream, and I got the Hydra Beauty Water Camellia Cream, which is one of my favorite moisturizers. It's a moisturizer and primer all in one. So I've never tried their hand cream. I mean, I've tried it like at the store, but now I have a sample to keep in my purse to see if I like it, and we'll be purchasing it. All right, so let's get started. First things first, let's get into swatches.
Okay, so this first shade is that really long top shade, and that's like long bar. This is a satin shade. This is kind of like that all over lid color to start, you know, your look. And then you've got the bottom left shade of that palette, which is the darkest shade. This is this beautiful brown, which is also a satin finish. Then you've got this like shimmery satin peach color that is right next to it, which would be to the right of the brown shade. This is my favorite color in the palette. It has a really pretty sheen. It's a pink with kind of these gold flakes on the bottom. It's kind of like shade shifting a little bit. And then right under that peach shade, you have this sparkly shade. This is the most sparkly one in the palette. And I believe that this could be like an inner corner, or kind of like a color you can use your finger with to apply to the center of the lid for that kind of halo eye look. And then to the left of the shade on the palette, you have this color right here, which is a beautiful satin shade. And this shade, and these 2 shades are similar, but this one seems to be way more peach. This is a softer version of this color. So unfortunately, they do not have names. Otherwise, that would have made it so much easier. But it's a pretty small palette, so you guys, if you're looking at your palette, you probably know exactly what colors I'm talking about.
All right, so let's get started with this look. So naturally, the first shade I'm gonna use is this top shade. And I'm gonna go ahead and apply that all over my lid. And I'm gonna be using my MAC 217S brush. If you guys are wondering what I'm wearing on my face, it's been already prepped, primed, foundation is on, the whole 9. The products that I use are relatively the same, but I'll go ahead and tell them to you anyway, just in case you're new to this channel. So I'm wearing my Bare Minerals Original Foundation in light. That's the color. And then I'm wearing the Mineral Veil in the translucent shade. In order to, you know, I set my foundation with that. And then I am wearing as bronzer my Hourglass Edit palette. And I'm just using the only bronzer shade in that palette. Okay, now I'm going to go in with this shade, and I want to put that all over my lid. Actually, no. I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, and I'm going to just apply that with the same brush just to the eyelid area. This is not a new palette for me. I mean, and what I mean by that is I owned their like medium palette. I did a video of that. I think if I could find that video, I'll also link it in the bio below, little bio box. However, if I had to compare this palette to that one, which I've already used completely, these shadows are much softer and way more, they're like buttery. These shadows are buttery. This is definitely has to be a new formula because the other ones were a bit drier, but I didn't experience any issues. Like, I know a lot of people had issues with that palette, and I remember when I bought that palette, the associate at the store told me, next I'm gonna go into this darker peachy shade here, and I'm gonna use that as a transition shade, and I'm gonna use my MAC 286 brush, 286S. So I remember the associate in the store warned me when I bought that palette, and he said, if this palette starts to shatter, like if these shadows start to shatter on you, you can bring it back and we will exchange it. And I remember thinking, shatter? Why would they shatter? So apparently there was a lot of issues with that palette. There seemed to have been some sort of manufacturing like defect with some of them, and people were bringing them back because the shadow was actually breaking apart in the pan as you were using it. I mean, that's what I was told. I did not experience any of that. I was able to use my palette normally like I've used any other palette. These shadows are so easy to blend, and for being very light shades, they are quite pigmented, and I like that you can continue to build them up. So I'm just, I am going to switch brushes. I'm gonna use my Real Techniques Defining Crease Brush. This is a much thinner crease brush. I don't know what's going on with my camera. There we go. And I'm gonna dip into that brown shade, and I'm going to give it more definition. So anyway, I never had an issue with that palette, but now that but I do remember using it. I remember I had used it, I think, last year. I can't remember. But these shadows are much easier to blend. So it's not that the other ones weren't bad. I like them and I could blend them. You just had to work a little bit harder than using these. Like, these are much, much softer. So I've just given my crease a little definition with this brush. And so anyway, this year I was highly anticipating for Chanel to come out with like an 8-pan or 9-pan eyeshadow palette like they did last year. That was not the case. They decided to come out with, you know, this 5-pan and expand the collection. From what I've been told, this palette is like part of the permanent collection. It's not going anywhere, so that's a good thing because it is a nice palette. However, I really did want one of the 9-pan shadow palettes, like eyeshadow palettes, to come out. I think they should have done both. It's just my opinion. But hey, I didn't pick up the bronzer because I actually have the original bronzer, and there was so much controversy with the reformulation of this bronzer. I know Chanel says it's the same product. It is not the same product. The new one has coconut oil, this one doesn't. As far as shades are concerned, I've watched a lot of videos, and in my opinion, I don't believe that one is darker than the other. I think it's the same exact shade. I think the problem maybe is how old your original bronzer is, because that tends to sometimes change the color a little bit. You know, it does get drier, the texture becomes a little different because it's much older. But I think that when you swatch them side by side, I can't tell a difference, and that's just me. I can't tell a difference. However, I don't know if I would have a reaction to coconut products with coconut oil in it, but it's not something I'm trying to discover because I already have acne prone skin. My skin is, you know, very reactive, and I just don't want to put my skin through that journey, because then having to go through the recovery process it's long and it's not worth it for me. Anyways, I've added that brown shade onto my crease just to give it a little bit of depth. And then I'm going to use my ring finger and I'm going to go into the sparkly shade here, and I'm going to place that right in the center of the lid to just give it a little pop. And I'm going to use my ring finger to do that. Also, if you guys were wondering, these shades do have a little bit of kick up. I'm sure you guys can see from the close-up of the pan. There's some kick up there. So if that's not something that you like and it's a pet peeve of yours, you may not like this palette. So I'm just placing that in the center of the lid, and I'm just using tapping motions with my finger. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. All right, now I'm going to go in with my MAC 217 S brush that I have cleaned on my little color switch thing here. And I'm gonna go back into that top shade, just kind of press my brush in there, and then just go back up here to soften up the edges. Okay, now I will be right back. I'm gonna add some mascara, some brow gel, eyeliner. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. I just realized I forgot to tell you what was on my face before I started doing makeup, so let's do that now really quick. Nothing new, but I'm gonna go through it anyway just in case you're new to this channel. I am using my Bare Minerals Original Foundation with the translucent veil. And as bronzer, I'm using my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked palette. I'm using the only bronzer shade in this palette, which is called Golden Bronze Light. And then I'm using this corner blush color, and it's called Nude Glow. And I'm using the only highlight shade in this palette, which is called Metallic Strobe Powder in Champagne Strobe Light. And then and I primed my lids with the Urban Decay Primer Potion, in case I missed telling you that as well. All right, so let me just show you the finished eye look. And so I applied some brown eyeliner to my top lash line, and I'm using my Clarins all-in-one eye and lip pencil. If you guys haven't seen this or tried this before, these are great. You get a lip liner, 3 eyeliners in here, and it's all in one pen. Very 90s. I think that's super cool. And then I applied my Chanel eyebrow gel to my eyebrows, and I applied a little bit of my Chanel eyeliner in 69 Clair to my bottom waterline. And I applied the NARS Climax mascara only to my top lashes. Now let's get into lips. So the first, I'm gonna show you both of these colors, but since this is a liquid lipstick, I'm gonna go in with the Cocoa Flash first, since it's gonna be easier to take off. And this is an Easy, and I'm gonna go ahead and apply that. Typical formula. It's great, super creamy. I really love this shade. It's so nice. This shade reminds me of In Time. If you guys were a fan of these lipsticks before they were reformulated, there was a color called In Time, and it reminds me of this. So this is what it looks like with Easy. And then let me just give you a quick close-up of the eyeshadow. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with the liquid lipstick. All right, again, this is the liquid lipstick in light rose. This has a smell to it. It smells like vanilla. It's not super strong. And I own plenty of these, so I can tell you the smell doesn't linger. But if you are totally against purchasing makeup with like scented makeup, you're not gonna like this. Okay. So I went ahead and applied that. This is without the gloss. This is what this color looks like. It has this tacky feel to it. And the gloss on the end, from what I've been told, is what seals this and what makes it last super, super long. And the gloss on the other side is clear. Just wait until the camera focuses on that. It's clear and it has like this little brush with the gloss on the tip. I'm sorry that my camera is having such an issue focusing today, but you get the gist. And then you're just gonna apply that all over the lid. I mean, the lips, the lid. You see, I do need that second cup of coffee. So this brush is pretty cool. Some of that lipstick did get on the dome of the brush, but it's okay. I mean, I'm not really gonna use this gloss with any other color than what it's attached to. And so this is what it looks like on with the gloss. The gloss is not super sticky. It's not thick. It's just the right consistency. Like it's a good feeling on your lips. So if you're somebody who likes liquid lipstick but you hate the matte like formula, but you still like that like kind of look, but you wish it had like a little bit more gloss to it, this is like the best of both worlds. So what I mean by that is, okay, a lot of people like to wear liquid lipstick because of the lasting power, right? That's like the main thing. But people consider it to be really drying. And so I think that this is amazing because you have the gloss on the other end where you can still have a glossy lip, but this is not gonna transfer. This color won't transfer onto anything. It won't transfer onto like when you're eating or anything like that. This is like one of the best liquid lipsticks on the market, and I think I may do like a mukbang video with one of these shades so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. They are pretty pricey. They retail for $38 in case you guys were wondering. But yeah, this is the light rose shade, and this was the last one I was missing to complete my collection. I only own all of the nude shades because that's what I'm gonna wear the most. But let me just give you one last close-up of the eyeshadow so that you guys can see. I really like the way that it turned out. I like the color scheme. It's that whole peachy look. You guys know I'm a sucker for peach palettes. I mean, this is a known thing on my channel. Anytime that there's like a peach palette, I own like 70 of them. But in my mind, I can't have enough. So of course I need to buy it because I need to have an abundance of peach shades for some reason. We all have our thing. Anyways, this is the first impressions slash try on of the new Chanel 2020 Le Beige palette in Warm. And I hope you guys really like this. I really like these shadows. I was actually pleasantly impressed. When I had first gotten a look at this palette, I didn't know that the eyeshadows were reformulated, and they're definitely not the same as the other ones. These are much butterier, and I think that they did a very good job with the reformulation. I would say 8 out of 10 times when a company reformulates something, it never turns out well. But this is one of those products that turned out very well for Chanel. This was a huge improvement from the other eyeshadow formula that they used to have. And again, this was the only item I picked up from the collection. I wasn't interested in anything else. It's not really something that I use. And I just definitely didn't even want to go anywhere near the bronzer. I actually was going to purchase the bronzer because I was under the impression that it was still the original formula. But then I started to see all of these reviews and I saw the list of ingredients and I was like, no. I will stick to my original one, which I still have a ton left. It's practically like brand new. It's almost, I think it's like almost impossible to get. I think it'll take somebody at least 2 years to get through this amount of bronzer, even if you use this like every day. Like, this is a lot of products. This pot has 1 ounce, right? But you have to use so little that it just lasts forever. So anyways, that completes this video. I hope that you enjoyed this quick little, like, you know, first impressions swatch video, and I hope that you guys have a good weekend. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Bye.